Hi beautiful people, this is Kim from Crafty Nani. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. I have a junk journal flip through of a junk journal I just finished at the Bunny Hop. It's a Sesame Street little golden book. There is a very long chunky dangly charm here on it that is removable. I'm going to take that off and show that to you first. There's a little removable Elmo here. I sewn this little lobster claw clasp onto it. So this is 4 strands. I am going to include some trinkets in case you want to add some more strands to this. You'll be more than welcome to. Here's a little dice, a little vintage button, a little bubble dog, a little Easter egg bead, a vintage soda cap, some more beads, a little vintage Easter egg, wooden Easter egg. This strand has vintage buttons, more beads, a small wooden block, more beads, a vintage little trinket here. It looks like little Dutch shoes with the little Easter flowers there. It's a vintage piece. Here's a little button. It's not vintage. Some more beads, a little puzzle piece. Some more beads, Happy Easter, a little trinket there, another vintage button, a vintage soda cap, a wooden blocks that's a shape of a star, a little Fisher-Price key. This strand here has more beads. Here, there's a poker chip, a little bunny, more beads, a little puzzle piece, child's puzzle piece, more beads, a little vintage Easter basket. I think it used to be a pig. Some more beads, and then a little teddy bear. So there's the dangle. It's very chunky, very chunky. So that comes along with it. It's a large dangle too. So, and then let's get to the flip through of the book. So it is the Bunny Hop. It is a little golden book. This book does not have a closure. I did not make a closure for this book. So if the recipient wants to make their own closure or whatever, but this one does not come with a closure. The book's in very good condition, so I did not put corner ends on that. So this is the cover. First page of the cover, I did put a little flip out from another Sesame Street book. There's this page. I did make a little library pocket here. There was a name there in the book, and then I made this little, have the stamp that I stamped this. Whoever purchases the book, they can always put like special dates on there, and you know what occurred on that date. There's a little tab with a little Peeps bunny on that tab. The book is, the story is intact. It's a 3 signature. Here's the spine. It is 3 signatures. The first signature has the first part of the story, because little golden books usually come in 2 signatures. So the first signature is in the story is in the first signature, and then the second part of the second signature is the last signature of the book. So, and I did add other story pages. Here's a little clip here that I made with some all colors of ribbon. So we could that back in there. And this page is from another story. Here's some writing, just some lined writing paper, and then on the back it is like grid paper. This is from a highlights book. This is the story. I did do some of my paper trim there. Here is some gingham yellow paper. There's a pocket here on this side that has been sewn. There's two little cards in there. Here's one of the tags. And then this is just a green index card. Great for Easter colors. This is some pretty paper with flowers on it. This is a little magnet butterfly, so it is removable. And I did put a little Easter bunny die cut there. This is a cupcake to set cupcakes in. I made it into a tuck spot, so there's some cards there. This is from a vintage game, and this is from a game too. It's not vintage. So we've got that. This is from a vintage Sesame Street coloring book. This is part of the story with some vintage blue lace there. This is a piece of photocopy paper. You can journal there on that with Sharpie. I attached a postcard there to it. A vintage postcard. There's that. This is from another story. Did we see that page? Yeah, we must have. And this is from another storybook too. Here is a vintage sales price receipt. It is vintage. I ordered these off of eBay. Get it back on there. And this is the other side. This is the middle of the first signature. And here's the other page from the other book. This is a flip out. This is a fabric piece. This is the other part of the photocopy paper. Part of the story. I made a little paper clip with some Scrabble pieces. Here's some vintage trim. The other part of the coloring book. The other part of that pretty yellow flowered paper and that gingham. Here is a journaling card. Here's part of the story. This is a vintage bottle cap. It's got a cork in the back. It's one of the cork. Oops. One of the cork ones. I don't know if the camera's getting that. This is the other part of the children's highlights, and the other part of that grid paper, and it's lined on the other side. This is from a vintage children's book here. This is vintage music paper that I turned into a pocket. Here is a Cookie Monster journaling card. This is a fun fiber piece that I made there using an old negative. And this does flip over, so you can journal here and just kind of hide it. Kind of like a secret spot there. This is from a vintage McCall's magazine, 1939, I think. This is from another storybook. Here's a little tuck spot with an old bunny. This is like an old maid, but it's old bunny card. This paper, I'm not really sure what this paper is, but I love it. I love the noise that it makes, the feel of it. I did put a little crochet doily there. This is a thank you card from 2011. This folds down. You can journal in there. I also made this a pocket back here. There's a another journaling card. Guess I'll show that. I showed these cards on a separate video that I had posted prior. Here is a vintage milk cap that I turned into a paper clip with a rosette. Here is a fun pocket. I got this idea from Natasha. I can't remember what her channel is, but yeah, but it's Natasha. But this flips up. This is a vintage bingo card, and this slides out. That's a pocket. And then this here is also a pocket with three little, I'll put this down and show these little cards to you. Three little cards here. They kind of look like postcards on the back. Sorry about the glare. And so I'll put those back in there. And then the back part is also a pocket, and there is a vintage card there, flash card. This is a full journal, and I also have items to send. This is from a vintage Ideals magazine. Some children's preschool writing paper. This is from a children's workbook. You can color the bunny. And then this is a hidden paper clip. And this is a flippy floppy. This flips down, it flips up. Put the paper clip on it in there. This is the other side of that children's workbook and the children's writing paper, the Ideals magazine. Here's a nice journaling spot or photo spot. And when you flip this over, this is sticker paper. Here it's like a flip out sticker paper. I've included some stickers, 2 sheets of stickers here. That's in there. Oh, this little detail is also really cute. This little flower here at the top. There's the other side of that paper that I love the crunchiness of it. Here is a little pocket. This is a vintage window cling. And then this is a little vintage tag I'll put in there. You can journal on that. This is from another book, a children's book. It's the other part of that McCall's magazine. There's some good advertisement on that. The other part of that vintage music paper. This flips out. There's a little journaling card there. Okay, that. And then this is part of the story. Here's a little paper clip dangle there. It sticks up the top of the journal. There's also some trim, vintage trim on this page here. Here is a page from a planner. There's a vintage Easter card that's included in there. Here's some ledger paper, green ledger paper. This is from another story. Vintage book. This is part of the original Golden Book story with some rickrack trim there. Here is a pocket. This is part of an envelope that I made this pocket there on it. There's another journaling card. Lots of writing space, journaling space in this book. This is from a vintage children's book also. It's an Easter egg. And there's some vintage paper. It's just plain paper. It's vintage. This has some nice trim here, fiber trim. Here's another little dangle at the top, a little paper clip that's in a vintage slide. I thought that was really cute. I put that together. So I'm going to get that back on there. So cute. This has some beads at the top of it. There's a vintage Easter card. Some vintage Easter wrapping paper. This is from another story, I think at the bunny book maybe. That's the middle of the second signature. I think it might be the third signature. Yeah, it's the third signature, excuse me. More of that vintage wrapping paper. The other part of that card. This is part of the original story here. And some more of that vintage paper. This is some vintage rice paper. It's like a light blue in color, but it's rice paper. There's that envelope. There's a Tim Holtz, just a Tim Holtz little thing. You can journal on the back of that. Also fill this full of your goodies. Here's a cigar band there. And here's some pom-pom trim on the end of this. This is from another children's bunny rabbit book. I think it's Peter Rabbit. More of the other side of that green ledger paper. And the other part of that planner paper. Here's a little card. And then the end of the story here. It's got some little trim there. And then I did glue a pocket back here. This is a little tuck spot right here. This is part of the fabric. And then there's a pocket there. And then that's a little tuck spot there. I didn't cover the back. I just left it. This, like I said, this book is in good condition. I did sew the spine together here, and 3 signatures are sewn in. And I also am going to send some goodies in case someone wants to add more trinkets, add another layer of trinkets. I've got goodies there. Got some goodies here in this little vintage Easter egg. I did not have many papers left over from the book. I used just about all that I had, but I do have lots of goodies to send. I'll drop something here. I have goodies to send with it. Some goodies in some bags here, some little surprises, trims of things that I used in the book, fibers, some goodies here, some more cards, more little goodies, a piece of the fabric that was left. I have some vintage playing cards, some vintage tickets, just a bunch of goodies here to send along with the book. Here we've got vintage flashcards. So yep, you'll receive these goodies also if you purchase the book. And the book will be available on my Etsy shop probably tomorrow. Pagesboundintime. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.